welcome to another Battle of the Ports. This week we are covering another viewer's request. This is 1943, the Battle of Midway from Capcom. This game hit the arcades in 1987. This is the second game in the 19XX series, with the first being 1942. What is odd is that this game is 1943, the Battle of Midway, but the actual Battle of Midway happened in June of 1942. Oh well. As you can see, this is a fairly average looking shooter even for the time of release, but it does offer some very unique play mechanics. Special shots have a time limit to stop you easily powering through the game, for example. Items are also obtained by shooting a power up to cycle through them. Okay, maybe that isn't so original, as many shooters do that, but this was one of the earlier games to do it. The base items you can collect are the power energy, which restores your plane's energy in scales of 8. The shotgun, which fires 5 bullets in advanced shape in front of the aircraft, and even has the ability to shoot down enemy bullets. Auto, a rapid fire option, but it is kind of limited as it only works for a few seconds before needing the button to be pressed again. Personally, I'd call this a semi-rapid shot. And finally, the shell, which launches a powerful missile forward. It is fired continuously for a certain period of time by holding down the button, and penetrates the enemy with great force. There are special items too, such as the Sight Fighter, which mimic your movements, the Energy Tank, which replenishes a massive chunk of energy, the Sakichi, which restores the countdown timer on special weapons, and a pretty cool laser. There's also a variety of bombs too, ranging from the classic loop-the-loop, megaton bomb, lightning, or tsunami attack. Sadly, 1943, the Battle of Midway will not be for everyone. The stages are long and dull, with little variety in the backgrounds. Enemies are basically the same throughout the entire game too, and the music is typical of Capcom, thin and twangy. Still, for those looking for some solid classic shooting action, 1943 certainly delivers. Okay, our first port is for the Atari ST and was ported by Probe Software. In fact, all the home micro ports were, besides the Commodore 64 version. Let's hope they're not all as crap as this one. On the surface, this ST port looks and sounds good, but when you start to play it, the problems become apparent straight away. The game has some serious speed issues. Sometimes it's running way too fast with horrible twitchy controls, then at others it slows down to a crawl. What's going on? The game is way too difficult because of this, and as a result, isn't much fun to play. Next up is the Amiga port, which is basically the Atari ST game, but now running slower. But because it is running slower, I've noticed a lot more flaws, such as how the collision detection on the 4-way shot is pathetic. Most of the time the bullets go through enemies. I'm sure this was also the case on the ST, but just didn't notice due to the crazy speed. Eight-bit home micro time now with the Amstrad CPC. Yeah, it's a juddery mess of a game, but guess what? It's a hell of a lot more playable than the Amiga and ST ports. I kid you not. The little baby Amstrad is kicking ass here. Simultaneous sound effects and music, lovely colourful graphics, and very smooth gameplay with working collision on the 4-way shot. Yep, this may not be arcade perfect by a long shot, but it is playable and I bet CPC owners would have been very happy with this port. Commodore 64 time with a port by the numbnuts at THX. Yep, they've buggered up another game. What is a shame is that they almost got it right with this port. The music, what there is of it, sounds good. The graphics are okay and the game plays reasonably well. The problem is they actually forgot to make the actual stages longer than 20 seconds worth of gameplay. Seriously, I've not edited this footage at all, but I'm sure you can all agree that the main stage was incredibly short. And it's not just the first one either, they're all like that. Oh well, at least the game is easy to complete. Oh well, as often is the case, the ZX Spectrum gets shafted. What we have here is a piss poor port of the Amstrad game. In game there is no music, besides the awful mess used at the title screen. Gone are the colours and gone is any excitement. But hey, at least the game has a seizure when you use the bomb. Just take a look. On June 20th, 1988, we saw the first console port coming to the Famicom and later to the NES in October of the same year. Unlike the home micros, this port was done in-house by Capcom. The funny thing is, the Japanese release was renamed to the Battle of Valhalla, which is odd considering the Japanese arcade is called Battle of Midway. What's even more odd is that Capcom have added RPG elements to this port. This actually makes the game more interesting, allowing you to power up certain aspects of your fighter. I also like the variation in stage colour too. The gameplay is also slightly altered. Now we have a charge attack which unleashes a powerful blast, but unfortunately also takes away some of your power. In fact, your power is constantly draining in this version of the game. That is not cool at all. To me, that is an unfair handicap. Still, even with the points I'm not keen on, I do like what Capcom have done here with the Famicom port. In August 1998, Capcom released arcade ports for the Saturn and PlayStation as part of their Arcade Classics series. Let's start off with the PlayStation version that can be found on the Capcom Generations Volume 1. Now this isn't emulation of the arcade but an actual port. We start off with a choice of 3 screen modes, one of which is a true Tate mode, but we'll go with the standard center playing area mode. As you can see, the game is very close to the arcade in terms of sound and graphics, but is it arcade perfect? Well, I'll let you decide that. Also on the same disc of this game, we get 1942 and 1943 Kai, as well as a load of bonus material. and here we go with the Saturn version of Capcom Generations Volume 1. This port features all the same screen options as the PlayStation and all the same extras and games, but is it the superior port of the two? I'll let you guys decide that in the comment section down below. Here we are with the Western mobile release, which is a rather janky flash looking port of the game. The Japanese release, which is impossible to find these days, was much closer to the arcade original. Take a look at all those versions of 1943, the Battle of Midway, running side by side.